Hey folks, I'm going to talk to you today about a case that I had a while back. Um, and it's a sad story, but I'm going to share. I had a young man, didn't come to me at first, hired another attorney. I'm going to give you the gist of the story real quick, all right? A woman calls in and says that there are two white males in the parking lot and they're looking inside cars. And they may have, let's see if they say may or did. Um, There were two white males, and one that wasn't wearing a shirt, and they were trying to get into vehicles in the parking lot. I don't know what trying to get into vehicles means, but that's what was said. A police officer is dispatched. The caller says they're driving in. I'll just give you an example. They're driving in a Honda, a two-door Honda. They don't give the color, they don't give the year, they don't give the license plate, but two white dudes looking in cars, trying to get in cars, um, or looking in cars and call the police. I think they're trying to steal something, right? Police drive that direction. Now it's late. It's about 5 in the morning. The only description that this caller made was that it's a two-door, let's call it a two-door Honda. That's it. No color, nothing. Police drive on that way. As they're driving, they see a two-door sedan. It also happens to be a Honda. The police officer activates the overhead lights. He stops the vehicle. When he goes over to the vehicle, there are two black males in the vehicle. The officer makes some ludicrous comment. I'm going to read this to you because I just thought it was, I don't know, weird. I observed two males, light-skinned black males, which could have been easily mistaken as white males under the darkness of light. Yeah, okay. So, the officer starts talking to the young men. He does an investigatory stop, right? Lights are on, they're forced to stop. He has them get out of the car, he separates them. He starts talking to them. They talk. He reads them Miranda, right? You have the right to remain silent. They're not quick to the draw. They're like, okay, well, we'll talk to you. They talk to him. What were you doing? Were you looking in cars? Yeah. Did you try to enter into the cars? Yeah, we grabbed the handle on one to. Now they just made a confession, right? Now they'll both end up getting arrested for attempted. I think it's like attempted burglary of a conveyance, a car, and conspiracy to commit a burglary. Client, the defendant, and his family. The police officer says, oh, just so you know, it should be noted that the defendants were extremely forthcoming and honest with deputies during the course of the investigation. Folks, loose lips sink ships. Shut up. I'm not advocating anyone break into cars. I'm not advocating anyone commit crimes. But innocent people go to prison. And non-innocent people who are guilty of crimes, still go to prison because they don't shut their mouth or they have a bad attorney or whatever, right? So if there's not enough evidence, so they hired this attorney. First thing I talk about in all the videos: can you can you get the case dropped in case filing? Can you write a letter and say, hey, Mr. Prosecutor, Mrs. Prosecutor, just want to start with this one premise. I know my client made a statement, right? But there's something called a corpus delicti argument. You need evidence of a crime in addition to the confession. So you had someone that said that they were looking in cars. There's nothing in the police report. There's no separate report that says this person saw them entering a car or that they were entering a car to steal it or burglarize it or take sunglasses or cash or whatever, iPhone. I, as an attorney, have been in a parking lot with my wife. Someone's lights have been on. I've gone over to the door, popped the door open, reached in, turned the lights off, and closed the door. Does that mean that I was attempting to burglarize the vehicle? I don't think it does. I think I was doing a good thing. Can't say the client, this defendant was doing the same, but he talked. First mistake. So, attorney doesn't reach out to case filing, doesn't apply for a diversion, and doesn't file a motion. Okay, so let's talk about motions real quick. There's no detail, right? If the caller had said it's a Honda Accord, it's red in color or white in color, it's got a missing hubcap, or it's got a dent on the right side, all the caller said was that it was a two-door sedan and that there two white guys jumped into it and left fast. When the cop sees this vehicle, however what the distance is away, he sees a two-door vehicle. It is late. There's early morning, so there's not a lot of vehicles, so that helps with the police and the state's argument. But a motion, if you didn't get diversion, a motion should have been filed. A motion should have been filed because there wasn't enough detail for a BOLO, for this officer to make an investigatory stop, to put those overhead lights on. That's the first issue. Second issue, as soon as that officer stops that vehicle and walks over to the vehicle, right? He sees two black males, not two white males, two black males. Doesn't fit the description. Hey, we're looking for an elephant and a giraffe. And we come across two birds. Two apples and oranges, folks, right? They got the male right, but white male and African American male, two different, right? They look different. In my opinion, there should have been a motion filed for that. And I would have enjoyed talking to the officer about his ridiculous statement that he made. Then they plead guilty. They get a withhold of adjudication, which is no conviction, and a year or so of probation. Okay, not the worst sentence, but it probably could have been avoided. Then the young man I think he's given some community service hours, like 100, 200, a lot of community service hours. He doesn't do them. He doesn't realize how serious it is. And he's just started college, got a girlfriend, typical young man who's not detailed oriented and not disciplined. No criminal history. He doesn't do the community service hours. He's warned, but he just community service, I got to go to work. The guy's working, the guy's going to school, the guy's got a girlfriend, the guy's got family, and he doesn't get it done at the rate of time that the judge had ordered. He gets violated. He enters into an agreement. I think he uses the same attorney, and he gets additional community service hours, 5 days in jail, right? And something else. Well, he still apparently doesn't realize how serious it is. Oh, by the way, I talked to the probation officer, and I wasn't on the case at the time, but the probation officer had made a mistake in what they asked the judge for. They were asking for either 5 days, option 1, 25 days, option 2, or and curfew, option 3. The judge gave all of them. The defense attorney didn't ask the question, didn't call probation, didn't go, well, I meant 1, 2, 1, either option 1, option 2, or option 3. Anyway, so the young man does jail. Then he gets out. He's got to do more community service hours. And then he's got a curfew on top of that. Okay, not the worst things in the world. I get it. The people who are like, he's a criminal. He's no good. He's a kid. It is what it is, right? I get both sides. Folks, trust me, I don't want anyone breaking into my car or my home or anything else, right? I get it. So now that happens. So now he still doesn't really get the whole, because now they add more community service hours. So now they're saying, well, you got to do like 20 in a week. And he does like 10. And they violate him. So I'm hired. I go in and I reach out to the state attorney, and they're like, nah, he's already gotten a chance. And this is a very tough jurisdiction where I'm at, just, where this case was. Prosecutor's like, nah, I'm going to send him to jail, at least jail, maybe not prison, but jail, and make him a convicted felon. I'm like, no, like he's a kid. He's like teenager, you know? So I got the pastors, I got the parents, I got the guidance council. I got all these people together to testify to the court. I got letters saying how wonderful a young man he is, and he's just a little immature. I walk through everything. I go to visit my client in the jail, and I walk through, and I have him tell me the story, and I want to hear how he's going to address the judge, and we talk about things, and obviously, I coach my client. I don't tell him what to say, but I coach him. I go, you might want to say it this way, a little slightly different from that way, because the judge needs to know that he's a person, not just another black male, and doesn't send him to prison. So we go before the court. It literally takes hours. And the judge is tough. And the prosecutor's asking for prison time. It was like, holy crap. On a kid with no history. A case that he could have done diversion or motion to suppress could have been granted. Like, I don't know, make him work, guys. At least, make him work. If you're getting paid, make the friggin' state work. So I make the argument, and the judge ends up giving him additional probation, like another. I think he gives him 2 years of probation, which is crazy. So it starts like he kind of takes away the other probation, maintains the withhold, so my client's not a convicted felon, and gives him 2 years of probation and more community service hours. So now the kid's at 200 community service hours. He gets out. He's not even out a month. I don't know it could have been a week for all I know. Family calls me. I quote them a price. I go, it's going to be very tough. That judge is very tough, and that prosecutor already wants to send him to prison. They choose not to hire me. They hire the jack of all trades. Like, I do criminal defense, and I do personal injury. I'm a tax attorney, and if you need to sell some real estate, I do that. And 16 different areas of practice, master of none. Basically the 99, 95, kind of guy. And sorry, there's just realities of every profession. I'm not here to knock anyone, so that's not my intent. But there are attorneys that really work hard and make an effort. And there's ones that just go, I don't even need to write a letter to case file. I really don't even need to apply for diversion. It's a year of probation. It's good. It's not. Case could have been brought down to a misdemeanor. It's the craziest thing. Anyway, so he tests positive for weed. Could have got a marijuana card. I even had a conversation with the kid. Get a marijuana card if you smoke. Family doesn't hire me. They go and get the guy. And recently I just looked up the case. It was a while ago, but I don't know, something I was going through old files and I came across the name, so I looked it up. What happened? He pled guilty, admitted the violation of testing positive for weed, and he went to prison. About a year and a half, became a convicted felon. It's a shame. He, very nice family, nice kid, seemed very intelligent, a little immature, but again, 19, 20 years old, young guy. So he went from, he would have kept his mouth shut. They probably may not even been able to make an arrest, right? And if they did make an arrest, they had probable cause probably to arrest if the victim identified them. But she said 2 white guys, not 2 black guys. I don't know. Maybe she would have seen the car. Then you talk about identifications and stuff like that. There's arguments to be made. Nothing was made. No diversion applied for. No request to get it down. It's like a thanks for the money and plead guilty. He violated a few times, right? So 3 times, right? Folks, you violate probation once, you can go to prison. You violate probation twice, you're probably going to get some time. 3 times, now granted, they were all technicals, no new law violations, and that's what needed to be argued, right? Immature young man. He's now a convicted felon, went to prison, and he'll be out eventually. Or I don't know, this is a while ago, he might never be out. So how do you go from a regular guy who's taking classes, just graduated high school, in college, and become a convicted felon? Well, you do what Johnny did. I'm attorney Roger P. Foley. Thanks for listening. Stay out of trouble, guys. Bye.